I have a question for you. So let's say a client comes to you, they want a project completed for them.
Yeah.
What would be the difference between doing a human-centered design project in comparison to a project that isn't human-centered design?
Okay. Client came to us, Hannah, actually in real life, request for quote. And basically they said, we want e-learning, it's on this topic, and we want you to give us a quote. And basically I was like, ooh, that topic. Well, actually, anyway, you shouldn't just go, yeah, we'll take it and do it. So in our response, we went back and shared the process that we would do to help them achieve their goal. So they thought they had a goal. It wasn't very clear. It was just kind of like, we need to improve this in our organization. And so what we did was in our proposal, we went back and said, this is how we would approach the project if it was like the best way to do it ever. And this is what it's going to cost you. And so we won that, which is really cool, which meant celebration. So it meant that they didn't actually want the solution they thought that they presented. So they didn't just want the e-learning. There was something in there about the process that we shared, such as the human-centered design activities, like running user interviews, observations, the workshops that we would have done to help them solve the problem properly. So that was attractive to them. And so we went in and did that. So we parked the idea of like, e-learning is going to solve that problem. And we're like, what is the actual problem that we're trying to solve, right? So we do a process to do that involving key stakeholders. And what that does, we call it a success statement, could be a business goal, whatever you want to call it. But basically we identified that, it was co-created and agreed on, which meant that anytime throughout the project, when someone said, let's do this, or what about this? We were like, well, how does that help us achieve the goal? So that holds us accountable and holds all stakeholders involved accountable, which is really cool. And then we did things like the user interviews to go, okay, well, help us understand how this problem plays out in your workplace. And we understood it a bit more. And what actually came out was they didn't need e-learning. That's not what people needed. What they actually needed was a self-care plan, a initiated and self-driven plan that helped them take action to improve the things for themselves. So the solution went from we need e-learning to understanding what was important to the employees, the end users, and from there the self-care plan or the action plan basically stepped people through. So it did have a component of e-learning. It was like, I think you could do it in less than 10 minutes. It was a stimulus up front because they recognized that work can be challenging at times in this particular topic. So we had stimulus and just put it out there. Yes, things are tough. And these are some of the tough situations that you may face in your workplace. And from there, that stimulus, they pointed them to resources in the e-learning, such as like TED Talks, podcasts, all that kind of stuff that was important. And then it was around do your self-care action plan, right? Which was self-driven. It allowed them to identify different components of their life that they wanted to improve, putting actual steps in place, engaging support systems, maybe a peer, maybe a family member, whoever it is, to be able to ask for help, giving them ideas on how to do those things as well. And basically an accountability thing at the end, like so booking something into your calendar or whatever. So that's where, if we had have just applied instructional design, they had an idea, we need e-learning, here's all the content, it's a face-to-face workshop, let's go Kim and Bella Vista Studios and go do that. And we would have just come up with storyboards and things like that. But with the human-centered design approach, we basically understood the true problem that they were trying to solve in the business. And that allowed us to come up with a solution that was like really beneficial. Actually, that client rang one day really excited, and we don't hear from this client unless they need something. And like to ring is a big deal, I think, because they could have just emailed, but she rang, she was all excited. It was really cool. And she's like, I've just got out of a meeting with 12 managers in our organization. They've gone through this solution, they loved it, and they want to know how they can roll it out to their teams because they just see the benefit. And I just think normally people don't get excited about training or recommend it in that way, and that's a huge testimonial within the business to have 12 high executives saying we need this for our teams, help us implement it. So I think that just demonstrates if you go do instructional design, the end-to-end kind of process, like it can be good, but can it shift performance? Can it really impact the business? because are you solving the right problem, I guess, is the right thing to be asking. That's where human-centered design is more beneficial or gets into the core problem. And I think, and it's in instructional design, sometimes we just don't do the right activities to do that. Yeah, that's what I would say, Hannah.
That's awesome. Great answer. And I think I totally agree. Like when we think about, one that came to mind was the induction program, or onboarding, some people call it, but we can often think like the solution's going to be talking about the values and talking about like the policies and the code of conduct and the health and safety policy and all of that. But when you actually speak to the users, the solution that we came up with for a project was so different.
Yeah.
It was around like, what do the inductees actually want? And that's like, they want to know where to park their car. They want to know how to find the toilet. They want to know where to make coffee.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's almost like human-centered design is like the step before that helps you to create something that's actually fit for purpose.
Yeah. It's
it's awesome.
It's part of in ADDIE analysis, so just getting deeper in doing that properly makes your life easier for the rest of the project. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about this stuff, you should check out our YouTube playlist or the creatorhub.belvistastudios.com. We've got a playbook that walks you through our exact process with instructions. We've got the online course where we have role plays and like Q&A kind of ask me anything style, so you can get more contextual learning. And then we've got the ultimate kit, which is like a blended learning experience where you bring your project to us and we will coach and guide you with on-the-job experience to basically apply human-centered design to your project. So yeah, check it out.